Welcome to Milk It. I'm your host, Sofiamiia. Welcome back. If you're listening, I just want to say thank you for joining and keeping up. And I also want to say thank you to everybody who sent me a lot of love about my chopping my hair episode. You can see my little pony. It really means a lot to me. And, I was nervous to be kind of vulnerable, and I got a lot of positive feedback on it. So I appreciate it. I'm in my comfies today, no makeup. I have the Supergoop glow screen on. That's it. I have my Kerastase hair mask and hair scalp serum in that I talked about last time, and in my fleece skimmies. So today I want to talk about journaling, like just journaling, because this is something that has really helped me. And I know it sounds simple, but I kind of want to get into my experience with journaling, because when I was at my lowest, when I was super depressed, 2024 and 2025, and going through one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, my doctor actually did ask me if I wanted to go on medication. They suggested maybe either antidepressants or SSRIs, mood stabilizers. And I do want to be clear, I'm not anti-medication at all. I think meds are an amazing resource, and I would never count it out for myself. I always know it's there on the back burner if I need it. But I did want to exhaust all options before I decided to do that. I have loved ones that have been on these type of medications around me for a really long time. And I see pros and I also see cons, like the damage it can do over long term. So that's my personal choice. I've never really been a big meds girly, just in general. Honestly, in high school, I think it was my sophomore year, I decided like if I didn't need to be on any type of meds, ibuprofen, Tylenol, whatever it is. And I've been like that for most of my life, even for like a hangover or my period, a headache. I don't take meds unless I absolutely need something. And that's just my relationship with medicine overall. So there's lots of different types of self-care, and I did lots of things to help me get to where I am now, and I'm feeling very good. I feel mentally stable. I feel happy. But out of everything I tried, I do think that journaling made the biggest difference and made the biggest impact. What's funny about journaling is it's not really new to me. I had a diary when I was younger, really cute with the lock and key vibes. Somehow my family members still managed to get into it. But I would write about my crushes a lot. I would write about my feelings a lot. And what's interesting is I went out of that phase, and then I went on a Europe trip after my senior year of high school. And I did the exact same thing. I kept a journal of every country that I went to and my little crushes and my hookups or whatever it was. So when I started again, or when I tried to start again, when I was depressed, I really didn't know where to begin. It was like a writer's block. I was asking ChatGPT for prompts. I was looking up TikTok prompts. I was basically researching how to journal instead of actually journaling, just trying to figure out how to do it the right way. And my therapist was like, just start writing. You just need to start writing. So my first entries, I would say I picked this up probably last December 2025. And I've journaled every day since then, sometimes twice a day. And my first entries were really simple. It would be something like, I feel sad today, or I cried all day today. I laid in bed all day today. This sucks. I miss my ex. My life sucks. I'm sad. Just over and over again. But I did make it a point to end every entry with, I love you, Sophia, because I wasn't doing any affirmations at the time. Obviously, all the research I was doing was you need to say positive affirmations to yourself. And that's also something that I've done a really good job at, is positive self-talk, because I really do believe how you talk to yourself and how you see yourself in your brain is how you project yourself into life and things that come your way. So I felt like I needed to give myself kindness somewhere. I wasn't giving it to myself outside of journaling. Like I was literally binge eating. I was smoking a lot of weed to numb the pain. I was kind of drinking. I'm not really like a drink alone type of person, but when I was going out with my friends, I was just like totally overdoing it. So I started journaling in the morning. That is what made more sense for me. I'm a very slow morning girl. I like to drink tea. I like to sit really quietly, and I would write for maybe 5 minutes. I never really journal for more than 5 to 10 minutes. That's really all you need. And you know what's actually really funny? This is such a 2026 problem, or like our generation problem. When I first started writing, my hand was cramping so much. I don't think we realize how much we don't write. We're typing all day long. If you're somebody like me, I like voice to text or voice to type or voice note at work and to my friends. So I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. Like writing is like actually hurting me. But after a few weeks, something shifted. More started coming out onto the page. A few sentences turned into pages. I'd be writing 2 to 3 pages sometimes while I was crying. And then feeling an emotional release after. You think thoughts in your head are processed, especially because you kind of think about them over and over again. But writing is a completely different release. And the repeating things over again in your head is a signal that you're not over it and you're not processing. Because if you do write something out on paper, if you go to bed and wake up the next day, it might cross your mind, but you're not going to think about it the same way. So if you find yourself like ruminating on things, I would highly recommend trying to journal. I was also in therapy for the first 8 months of my separation and my divorce, and therapy helped me so much. I'm a big fan of therapy, but it does like kind of get old kind of quickly. I will say, if you feel uncomfortable or if you feel like I do not want to go to this therapy session, you probably should be going. But I did therapy for about 8 months, and I do kind of go on and off in therapy. Like when I feel like I need it, if a shift happens in my life, I'll go back. But once I started journaling consistently, I noticed that I felt a very similar relief to journaling than I did in therapy. I tried different styles of journaling too. I tried gratitude journaling at night for a while, writing what I was grateful for and what I looked forward to the next day. It was nice, but it did feel pretty repetitive for me. I also tried future framing journaling, writing out how you want your next day to go. So for example, if I was going out with some friends, I would write, I'm going to go out with friends. I'm only going to have 2 drinks. I'm going to not like overshare, and I'm going to make a really close friend that will connect, and we'll get each other's Instagrams, and then I'll have more girlfriends. I realized manifestation and visualization are separate for me. And I do a lot of manifesting and visualization. I don't like the future framing type of journaling. Maybe that's something you would like to do, but I do a lot of visualizations in yoga, and when I visit my I don't know what I should call her. I'm going to call her like my shaman, pretty much. My facialist. She's also my Reiki lady. She really taught me how to hone in on visualization. So that's a different practice. Now, the way I see journaling is really simple. It's just time to hang out with myself. And when I first started, I felt uncomfortable hanging out with myself. I didn't even want to journal my own thoughts that I'm thinking all day. That to me is like, I'm not comfortable being with my own thoughts and hanging out with myself. I was numbing constantly, like I mentioned, smoking weed, watching TV, binge eating, just wasn't processing. Now my journal practice is I typically journal at the end of the day, especially here in Mexico City. And it's my time to talk to myself about my feelings, about my day, about my dates, about my friendships, about my family conflicts, about friends conflicts, anything that I'm feeling. I really look forward to my journaling sessions at this point. There have been moments where I've been out with friends and I've literally said, I cannot wait to go home and journal on this. And vice versa. There have been some difficult situations that I've been in or encounters that have made me feel insecure where I'm like, I need to go home and journal on this. I get over things so much quicker now. If something bothers me, I'll go journal about it for literally a day or two, and then I move on. Before I started journaling, I would ruminate on things for weeks. So if you find yourself that, feeling that same way, I would recommend just trying journaling. So journaling didn't fix my life overnight, but it did give my pain somewhere to go. And once it had somewhere to go, it stopped living in my body. I think I've briefly mentioned that I dealt with severe hip pain when I was kind of deciding if I should file for divorce or not. Of course, the doctor was like, go to PT. I had to go get 2 different x-rays. I could have sworn I had a slip disc or something because I could not even walk Java for more than 5 minutes outside. My hip pain went away once I started journaling daily. I know that sounds crazy. And I'm going to give you a little insight to something that actually happened here in Mexico City. I went on a date, and I'm not exaggerating. This is a couple weeks ago. I went on a date, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that I've never had a date go as well as this date went. I was very surprised. So surprised that when I got home from the date, I literally started tearing up because I was like, I have done so much self-care and work on myself. Like, these are the types of dates that I should be going on. Like, this is how it should feel. It's kind of crazy. All my exes, even the one that I married, I did not feel this way right at the beginning. It was more of like a buildup. And I don't know if this is right or wrong. I'm not saying you need to click right away, but this is the kind of like relationships that I hear about, right? I got really, really excited. Got home, they planned the next day within 24 hours. We're texting every day. I'm like, okay. And this isn't a love bombing situation. There was not like, you're perfect, I want you to be my girlfriend. This was like a very mature date, like very mature dates. So then we go on our second date. Again, a 4-hour date. It went great. We're talking about family. We're talking about past relationships, but not like trauma dumping. Very, very like, I don't even know how to explain it. Mature. Again, left the date. They planned another date within 24 hours and we're chatting. We go on a third date. The third date's amazing. Again, I'm like, okay, like this is really cool. Something that was a little bit of a red flag for me is we didn't kiss, but I was like, I do want to take things slower. I don't want to rush things. This person ended up going to a festival over the weekend, and they let me know, like, hey, I'm going to a festival. I'm going to be there with friends. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hear back from them because, like, this is the most mature dating I've ever done. A couple days ago, they got back, I was like, I'll give them a couple days. I'm not going to blow them up. They're probably tired from this festival. I get a text and it really did catch me off guard. It was like, hey, you're a great person. It was really great to like know you, but I didn't feel anything romantically. And I got this lump, that lump in your throat where you feel like you're going to cry. That lump hit me in my throat because I just didn't expect it. But then, this is the kicker, within 2 minutes of them texting me that, they posted a repost. It was like him and a girl, and it said, mi corazón. I'm like, okay, you were obviously talking to this person while we were dating. I mean, I don't know what the details are, and I'm not like one to be like, hey, your man was obviously dating me. Maybe they made it official over the weekend. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to take the pros. Like, at least I didn't get ghosted. And I now know that I can connect with somebody and I know what the feeling's going to be. I don't really believe that they didn't feel the connection, But hey, men are men. Who knows? But side note, I got that lump in my throat and then I saw that picture right before I was going to a yoga class. During the yoga class, obviously you're moving like your emotions and stuff. I've cried in many, many yoga classes, but I started crying and I just like felt me kind of like suck it up because I haven't cried in a yoga class yet here in Mexico City. And I just know if the instructor or somebody noticed me crying, everybody here is so sweet that they probably would have like gotten around me and been like, it's okay. And I didn't want that. But I came home, I cried a little bit. I did journal, but it was very brief. And I woke up the next day still with this lump in my throat. And I was like, what is this? I'm not sick. It's that lump that it feels like you're about to cry. I've never had that last for more than like, 5-10 minutes. The whole next day, I'm on Zoom calls, for work. It's very uncomfortable swallowing. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, this is so weird. Went into the next day. I was supposed to go hang out with some friends. I went. The lump is hurting me so bad, you guys. I had to leave. I was like, I can't continue to keep talking. I almost was like, I won't be able to podcast today because this lump in my throat and it just hurts. So of course I get on ChatGPT and I'm like, is this something that's sick? It's like, no, this is something like you feel like you did not get to say your piece. It's basically my body tightening up and reacting, but in my throat. That's exactly what my Reiki, what my massage lady told me from what I researched, what was happening with my hip. I felt so unsafe in my last relationship where I'd clenched my pelvis that it literally tilted ligaments that took me almost a year to undo. So what did ChatGPT say? It was like, you need to release what you felt like you needed to say. How badly I wanted to voice note this man and say, fuck you. You obviously were talking to somebody else. No. But I like to keep it classy. That's the new me. So ChatGPT was like, you need to write a letter of like what you would say. So I journaled. Again, I normally journal about my feelings, but I wrote this date a letter about everything I felt. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. While I'm at it, wrote another letter to somebody I was dating back in November that ghosted me. Wrote another letter to my ex about the divorce. And I kid you not, I woke up this morning with the lump out of my throat. So I don't know when I became this girl that became so sensitive to emotions, to feelings, all things of that nature. I get drunk now off of like 2 drinks. Like, I'm just a very sensitive girl. I'm very sensitive to the energy. It's also why I decided to come to Mexico, because the energy in the US right now is just icky. But take with that what you will. You need to express your emotions in one way or another, or it is going to show up. If you haven't read The Body Keeps Score, I highly, highly recommend it. And I want to end this podcast with some facts about journaling, pulled straight from ChatGPT. So here we go. Journaling reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. Absolutely true. Studies have shown that expressive writing about your emotions can significantly lower depressive symptoms and anxious rumination. There's actual research showing that writing your feelings down reduces anxiety and depression, and I 100% agree with that. Writing helps process trauma. Your brain starts making sense of what feels chaotic when you write it. This is absolutely true. I also used to have nightmares of like specific events that used to happen between me and my ex. Once I went to therapy, and EDMR really helped with that, but writing them down, I sleep like a baby now. Journaling lowers rumination. I feel like I touched on this one. Journaling shortens that cycle. Writing your feelings down literally calms your nervous system. You know, when you talk to your girlfriends or like your family about something and you just feel like, oh, it's good to get that off my chest, you get that same feeling from journaling. It also supports immune health. Some studies found that people who journal regularly show improved immune function because chronic stress decreases when emotions are processed. Absolutely. I used to get sick a lot when I was in my last relationship, which makes sense. I was stressed out constantly. Journaling increases self-awareness. You can't lie to yourself when it's in your handwriting. Mic drop on that one. It also strengthens your emotional regulation. I will say, I was nervous. I was going to be so sad about this dude. But it's Thursday. I'm recording this on a Thursday. And there is no lump in my throat. And I live in Mexico City. And I'm hot. And I'm nice. And I have lots of love to give. Like, I'm ready to go. Journaling improves decision making because writing slows down your thoughts. It helps you think more clearly and intentionally. I had a little panic thing about my visa back on Monday, and now I should have journaled now that I'm thinking about it. It improves communication skills. Journaling helped me say things out loud that I used to suppress, 100%. It also helps with closure, like I just mentioned, instead of crashing out. I love a good crash out when it's deserved, but this will help. Your journal also becomes proof that you survived things you thought you wouldn't. It's been really hard for me to go back and read journals, even from my college journal. I don't know why. You know, when sometimes you don't like hearing your own voice? I feel that way with my journals. However, over the last year, there were a couple things that are entries that I would read at the beginning, and they're just so fucking sad. And they're kind of like just a repeat. Like I would just kind of write the same things like I mentioned earlier. I'm sad. I miss my ex. I'm never going to get through this. But it is nice to look at those now and like I could feel for myself and have sympathy and empathy for myself. So that's good too. And it also builds self-compassion. Ending entries with loving statements like I'm doing. Now when I'm in Mexico, I put, Te amo, Sofia. Like, I love you, Sofia. It increases positive self-regard over time. I will say my internal voice has gotten very positive over the last year and a half. So to close, I started journaling because I couldn't sit alone with myself. And now journaling is how I sit alone with myself. And I think that's the biggest growth overall. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you took anything away from it, I'd love to hear any of your thoughts when you guys DM me or text me, or I even have people like Teamsing me on the side. I live for it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.